it's a term that's used a lot, centers of excellence. It's not something that's done much yet, but I think that center of excellence is going to be where it's going to be in 2022 as ABM becomes more popular. More marketers are going to have to understand it, and companies are going to need centers of excellence to enable that.
I think ABM in 2022 is going to look a little bit different, primarily through the lens of how we've seen such a rise in customer centricity, that being such a key thing that companies are now starting to hone in and focus on. ABM is going to be really best suited within the marketing function to continue that vision and support that. I do think that it's going to be a less is more approach, so less of a targeted demand generation function, I think, as ABM can often be seen as. And it's going to be much more about very few accounts at any given time, given your sales cycle, and hyper attention and personalization within those. So I think that's going to have to move away from the way technologies have maybe pitched or sold these types of tactics or solutions for ABM. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's going to look. Technology can be an incredible enabler, and sometimes though it can also hinder our creativity and hinder doing what's best for the individual or the account. So I think in 2022, you're going to be seeing a much more strategic support function that ABM will hold across the company.
Well, my prediction for the year 2022 is very well in line with our third-party intent data program that we have launched. I think that marketing ABM cannot rely anymore on leads. The buying journey is not a lonely one. So the companies today are making decisions in groups. So it is not possible anymore to rely on single leads. A smart marketeer will analyze the buying intent signals and make a more strategic analysis and measurement. And I think that this is what will happen next year, and this will be the trend for the years to come.
Here we go, 2022 trend in ABM, where we are going. So I thought after writing the ABM for Dummies and ABM is B2B with a period, I thought it was done. I think I've explained it to the world that look, ABM is nothing more than better marketing and better sales. B2B really stands for not boring to boring, but rather better to better. But here we are in 2022, I see more organizations still struggling with it. So I got 3 things that to think about for the future. One, at the organizational level, start thinking at an organizational level to be more authentic over being corporate, meaning not just saying authentic for the sake of it, but actually standing for something. So instead of saying my company is best in something, start saying my company is best for something. That is what Jeff Henderson wrote in his book, Stand for Something. And I think that's brilliant. That is something what companies and your customers crave for you to say more of and do more of. Number 2, at the team level, you need to make sure that one is greater than many. One is greater than many, meaning you need to create something that is so amazing, like a survey report or a book or a podcast or a way you do things that is so uniquely, authentically you, that people are saying, I want this research report from that company because I trust it. So you gotta create as a team level, stop doing a ton of things, rather do one thing so well and make that thing the gated thing and ungate everything else so you drive more people and more eyeballs and more conversation. So that's at the team level. And at the individual level, I think if you want to really bring ABM to the forefront, you need to start thinking more as an evangelist or as opposed to being promotional about it. Evangelism means, like Guy Kawasaki said, is the purest form of sales. So you're gonna go and talk about your business, not for the product perspective, but from a problem that you solve perspective. So you're evangelistic in that sense, and that way you don't have to promote your product buy. Rather, you can actually build a community and say, hey, let's go and solve this problem together. So that said, those are the 3 things that I would love for you to think about at the organization level, at the team level, at the individual level. Ultimately, we all know ABM is nothing than B2B, which is better marketing and sales. And now with go-to-market, which is my 3rd book that I've written, as you all know, I want to say that go-to-market is really the North Star of ABM, and I hope you take a look at it and see where ABM is moving and transitioning.
I think in 2022, two different things are going to happen. I mean, I think ABM is going to continue to grow and accelerate the way that it has over the last few years. I think that it's going to continue to be more present everywhere, but more, kind of on the same side of things. I don't think that it's going to be necessarily seen and or called ABM. Because as I've mentioned before, ABM really is just good marketing. And so I think that we might see a trend of ABM title changes in the sense that you're just, marketing director instead of ABM marketing director. I think that as the teams come together and understand that really you just have one single strategy, the titles will start to fall away. And while it's going to continue to grow immensely and be used more and more, I don't know that the naming will continue on and on forever.
I think it's just going to be constant readjustment. Not in terms of the accounts that we target, because like I said, it's a marathon, but in terms of it would be very easy to prepare a 2022 plan in previous times, but after a pandemic, when things change so quickly that affect our buyers, we have to adapt with that, and we have to keep taking temperature, and in each country, because it looks so different from country to country. So we're not through this pandemic changes of direction yet, and so in terms of preparing my budget for ABM and all things demand gen for the new year, I have left a lot of contingency and not tried to set too much in stone, because we need to be agile in adapting to our customers' needs.
I think we're going to see a lot more alignment between marketing, sales and commercial teams in the coming years, particularly next year as we come out of the pandemic. Teams need to be more focused on what is important. They need to be have a stronger understanding around how the buyer journey has changed or been impacted. They need to kind of reset their strategy at a level. Buyers are behaving differently. They have different needs. Things are less predictable than they were previously. You need to be more agile. You need to have a stronger relationship between sales and marketing to really drive success and be relevant to your customers. And I think that's one of the key things that teams need to get their head around, is that perhaps the old way of doing things may not be as effective as they are today. And you need to think about what your buyers need from you in the current climate. And that may be using different channel tactics, different content strategies, different value propositions. So just being really relevant and working closely with your counterpart in sales and marketing to drive that relevancy.
I think that community and ABM are really going to double down in 2022. I think that a lot of marketers are going to start to leverage community even more than they did in 2020 and 2021 to get or to really meet their prospects where they are. For example, being in MarTech, other marketing communities that are out there, I'm in these communities every single day. I'm interacting with them. I'm not trying to pitch anything personally, but I'm just trying to add value. And I think that's where people are going to start to double down in and kind of see some success from. I also think another huge piece that plays into that is personal branding in ABM. How do they go together? How do people see what I post every single day on LinkedIn, get to know me as an individual, as a human, start to build trust and rapport? Yeah, I'm connected to all of our target accounts and the people that matter in those, because I am the ICP as well. Over time, they're going to start to see my content, and it just kind of creates a content flywheel where they'll put two and two together, where I may not be posting about gifting or direct mail in general, but I am posting valuable types of content. And so when they do have a need for a platform like Alice, they will reach out, or they will kind of say, hey, can you point me in the right direction? Or they'll just kind of come inbound and submit a demo request. And I definitely already saw that in 2021. Personally drove over 30 inbound requests just from the content that I put on LinkedIn. So my goal in 2022 is to even exceed that further.
ABM, as you probably understand, my thing about ABM is it needs to become more agile, and that's part of the award that we just talked about. And I think ABM is going to become even more agile. The AI and the technology and the whole processing of the digital signals and the inputs, both qualitative and quantitative, from customers, is going to become even more real time and more personalized. If you notice, when you download the latest apps on your iPhone, it'll ask you if you want personalized messages, for example. Personalization is becoming, expected, and there's a bunch of stats to back this up. So the whole thing with personalization becoming more agile and more scaled is going to be really big, and I think there's going to be a bunch of new AI improvements that are going to make that even more easy for small companies, medium-sized companies to implement. So you don't have to have a huge AI team to do that. And as ABM continues to go mainstream, you're going to see more and more people leverage that AI in really interesting new ways. And that's going to tighten up the feedback loop for all the customer inputs that we need to make things more personalized, to make ABM really effective and meaningful and engaging. And that will, just further accelerate the whole ABM process.
Taking a content lens, I think things are just going to get more personalized, more customized, more specific, more engaging, and more empathetic. We're at a stage now where generic content that only speaks to a product or a service is kind of pointless, really. Nobody wants to hear about a dry old solution. No one wants to hear about the features and benefits. They're tired as well. We're living and working in a world where everyone has constant notifications, constant emails. Everyone's focus is fractured. So if you can stir up a message or a creative experience or a piece of content that stands out, something in the moment that solves their problem with empathy and recognises their challenge as an individual, while also giving a little bit of an injection of fun. I think even in B2B, we shouldn't be afraid of fun. Then you'll be able to grab the attention of those busy, overloaded people who you're targeting. So my advice for anyone going into 2022 would just be to approach everything you want to do for your accounts with empathy. Stop for a moment, put yourself in their shoes. Who are they? How are they feeling? What are they trying to do with their day? And then make sure that the message, the content you're crafting is human and is what that person, that account needs to see.
Our big prediction for our own ABM programs is that we will now be able to scale our ABM efforts much faster and to a much broader set of accounts. Today, we're largely focused on ABM for a specific number of key accounts that we know we want to focus our activities on. But now that all the data is in one place, now that we have the platform that can automate a lot more workflows, bring accounts into our programs and highlight them to our sales team, we can now expand those ABM programs to start to activate campaigns against hundreds, if not thousands, of different accounts out in the market based on what we're seeing from third-party data, first-party data, or a combination of the two. So this level of automation gets us so excited, and we think that by the end of 2022, we'll be at a point where we won't even know who's in our ABM programs anymore because the automation behind it is identifying and activating campaigns based on rules we've set up within our core platform.
From a prediction perspective, I would say, I predict we will see continuation of a trend, which is, especially in technical sales, the power of the subject matter expert to become a content creator. Decision makers like CISOs, CIOs, CTOs don't want to talk to marketing, no offense. They don't want to talk to sales. They really want to talk to their peers. So we as marketers have to make the process frictionless to help our subject matter experts become content creators, position them, and then create the shortest possible way to connect them to their peers in the customer organizations. I really think this will be, if you can do this, this is a game changer.